welcome to the social hub of positivity on tour.
Yeah.
Today we're in Lostwithiel in Cornwall, and we have the pleasure of having this very special guest who's always on the side of questioning, but today we'll be on the side of answering things. So, how have you found these last couple of days in Cornwall?
Well, absolutely beautiful on lots of levels because a long association with Reach Out Cornwall and Trish Hoskins is a joy in our lives. The sort of combined working that we do in Cornwall and in Wiltshire together as organisations. The joy of being able to have done that film with them in 2019. And then to show it with obviously we'd have showed it as soon as we'd edit it normally and come back down to Cornwall to show it. But we got to show it at the launch of their new fantastic venue at the Seven Stars in St Austell, which was just remarkable. The amount of work that they've done to get that together and the support of all the community, no doubt, and the team. A great new team and some old faces, of course, not old in that way. Dion's going to kill me, but. And then to see the look and the response of particularly Jess, who was in that film, her pride and how it was just great. So I've had a great time. I normally do, and we went and filmed in Perranporth again, so that's always a good thing. I love it. It's like Ireland, isn't it? Well, it just is.
How much do you think? Is there a difference between working with people in Cornwall and working with people in Wiltshire? Are there like socio-economical differences you observe between the two counties and the profile of the young people you work with? Is it like, are the stories the same everywhere, or are there subtle differences that you can notice?
That's a good question. And some years ago we did a project inspired by a young person in Wiltshire called The Chemical and Capricious, which kind of wanted to answer that question. So we went to work with the people we work with in Salford, Cornwall, London, Wiltshire, Grimsby, and allowed them to show their perspective. So we had films, photography, poems, writing, all sorts of interviews in my view, with the local residents, local young people, and they showed in each of their areas at the end of the week of doing workshops. They had a consultation and presentation in each of those areas, and then we had a national one at Laycock, working with the wonderful Graham Hurd at Laycock with the National Trust, and combined a national project. And in reality, bar certain types of facilities, the opportunity, as right across the world really, is for certain types of opportunity that maybe young people in our modern world would want to access. Socio-economic aspect of it's really, there's a geographical one for certain parts. Then you've got the highs of the pros of particularly being in Cornwall, of not only the beautiful countryside, not that that's of great use to a teenager particularly sometimes, and the sea. Unfortunately down here there's way too, there shouldn't be any second homes, let alone the amount that there is. It's disgraceful. That I think is a major shame. Funny how David Cameron's got a few down here, or his missus has. Anyway, I want to say that because it disgusts me the amount of money that we're supposed to be all in it together. He created austerity, and look what happened. He got 7 point whatever million from Greensill, public money. Anyway, apparently, allegedly, that's what they said. I don't dig that at all. Anyway, but there are lots of seasonal changes around here, so this is quite a seasonal economy, which again we ought to look at as a country, if we are indeed a country, to look at how that can be changed, because it's a strange stress. So bizarrely, we work here in Cornwall a lot of the times not in the summer, and it's a very different world, as you can imagine. If you don't only come in here in the summer, it's beautiful and green and it's abundant with, it appears, everything, as well as tourists and ice cream. It looks like it's a really rich and it is in lots of ways. But the people that live here throughout are, bar a few, let's say geographical or economic challenges or whatever differences or trades that they might think, are the same the world over. There are good people in every area of this country and the world, and there are a few who, for whatever reasons, I don't know, went to boarding school or whatever it was, that they don't quite get it. They haven't got the empathy, and so no, in reality, there isn't any difference. I don't think, not really.
But maybe less, less stuff to do in the winter, since you were saying all those restaurants and cafes.
That's what I mean. That's the bit. Yeah, the bit about the seasonal economy means that there's a lot less of that in the winter. Well, we're doing a similar project between Croatia, Ireland, and England. Croatia's got the areas, the islands or the seaside coastal resorts, etc., are similar to a degree, aren't they?
Yeah,
in lots of those countries, people go in olive pick, or they might work in hotels during the season and then go off to something else. Right. In Ireland, I guess seaside resorts will be the same, but we're comparing the biodiversity, aren't we? It's mountains, rivers and sea, isn't it, that we're doing? We're looking at comparing, and obviously the lives of our teenagers and our young people, comparing and contrasting what people did in the civil wars. Why you had civil wars in those three countries? What does that mean? Women's role in it. So again, we're comparing and contrasting. There will be specific differences, original aspects, particular times in history, but the similarities are always going to be the same. Yeah, we all have different ways of expressing ourselves musically, but we do it, don't we? In painting, dance, art. You say, they're fundamentally different. There's only certain things you can do with your body, so they can't be that different. I know that the river dance scenario, the Irish dancing, looks, and I love it, and it's that looks quite good. But you can see that type of dance echoed and mirrored across the planet.
You can. There is something special about Ireland.
Oh, come on now, Maya.
Music and...
Well, you see, here's the thing. We've been oppressed for so long that in spite of the economic oppression that we've had and the exploitation and people forget that Cornwall, going back to the English Civil War, they invented tortures on the Irish, and the English, bless them, don't teach it in schools. So the English always think that the problems in Ireland are about Catholics and Protestants, and this couldn't be. Well, it's nowhere near the truth. That's never been the problem. It's been about land grabbing, killing, exploitation, enslaving. They sent Irish people to the Caribbean, to the colonies. So we'll be exploring that in that project.
Maybe that was a response to the...
Oh yeah, I think that
black people often have very developed musical.
I can't take the voice away, although they did. They used to put things in people's mouths to stop them talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your body becomes your instrument. Your mind, if it's not battered and killed, or it becomes the universe, isn't it? You've got nowhere else. If you're shackled or you're restricted by someone else's greed, but that's possibly an underlying feature of those three countries, England as well, having a folk tradition, having the idea that regardless, if you also remember that after the Civil War, when Cromwell was in power, they were quite puritanical, and they like the Taliban really. They banned a few things like sort of music and celebration of Christmas in a certain way, and lots of different stuff. But we'll explore that. But the commonality, community, common unity, that which unifies us commonly. Our need for shelter, fresh water, air. The fact that some people haven't got that in this country. Remember that, you two housed hooligans. When you buy a second house, you're depriving someone of their first. Remember that. It's not my fault. It is. If you've got more than, and I'm talking about the royals and everything. The sooner that they get retired, nicely, I'm sure, as I say, they're lovely people. We need to recalibrate our society with equality and justice, and it would be lovely to have democracy as well. That would be a great thing for England to have, particularly meaningful democracy.
In the
real.
Ancient Greece, democracy wasn't a positive term.
No, it's about yeah,
Because when you say demos, that means like the
Mob.
people as in, yeah,
The mob, yeah.
But when you say aristos, like aristocracy, it means the rule of the best ones.
Yeah.
But by best ones, they didn't mean like aristocracy, the richest ones, but literally the cleverest ones. You could be poor as well.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Be
No, of
chosen
course,
to be.
absolutely, and that
But-
in itself would be a good thing. It's never been that
It's
in
an
this country.
interesting concept to explore and
Yeah.
see them.
It's the richest that rule.
Obviously,
The richest that rule, and people look at our aristocracy and forget that a lot of them got their money from murdering the hell out of everyone on the land that they ended up living on.
I don't think that would be a thing to put in the word aristos in Greek.
No, but the
That
aristocracy
wouldn't be the best
in this country
would be-
comes from the
there needs
Latin,
to
doesn't
be
it?
a moral
Yeah.
high as well.
No,
to be chosen
100%.
among
Isn't
the
it bizarre that the more comfort, look at the Catholic Church, the more comfort, the more money that they've robbed and pillaged from around the world, the less moral and less ethical they become.
I wanted to just think about the musical aspect a bit more of the, like, Cornwall obviously has its sea shanties, and Croatia has a very developed, like, it's called klape, choral music.
Yeah.
Fishermen usually used to sing when they would go out fishing, and then you would hear them at dawn coming back singing their choral, like in harmonies, and particularly it's male choruses. But I was wondering if we compared these two traditions and the lyrics they use and the melodies,
well, that's
would
part
it
of that
be
project.
similar? Would it be like, because the lyrics I read in sea shanties are quite often quite like misogynist.
Because historically, and that's not a good thing, but that's, look at how society hasn't evolved, particularly around women's rights. So slow. It's hard to believe that women are responsible for procreating our population. You'd think they'd be honoured. They used to be, didn't they? The goddess Diana and stuff. There was a time in our existence when women were, revered and worshipped. Not that I think everyone should be equal. There shouldn't be queens, shouldn't be kings. Definitely shouldn't be Prince Andrews hiding in his palaces. What? Shouldn't be stuff like that. What do you mean? Just don't think that's right. Okay. Anyway.
It is strange.
It is strange, but don't you get involved in that. I bet you they would. What are they going to be saying again? We have come back from the sea. We're going to see our ladies. Have a nice cup of tea. Let's all go and shanty.
That would be. Because in Croatia
No,
there
I just
would be
literally
quite...
made that up.
Oh, it sounded quite unique.
It was unique.
No, that would be would that be an example of a sort of depth of
Well, no,
thought?
we'll find it. No, I'm not. Let's look at them. Let's look when we do that thing. We'll come back to this, people. Any other questions, my darling?
In Croatia, you have
this is my wife, in case anyone's thinking, why is he speaking like that to her? Now have no death.
Metaphors about seagulls and
seagulls.
freedom,
like how you want to shoot them.
Deep thoughts of your normal fishermen.
But that will be interesting to compare and contrast. Likewise with any folk tradition, and look at the struggles that people have to maintain the land. The harvest is always a thing. The bounty from the sea, fruit, you name it. Look at the traditions around cooking as well, and compare and contrast the local ingredient.
Yeah. Of course, today's seafood is unfortunately one of the reasons why our species in the sea are dying off.
And why we as a species are going to die because of the climate emergency, the climate disaster, the climate, things are going to heat up in a way that no one expects.
People should watch Seaspiracy.
Seaspiracy. Everyone at the same time. It's a lot of electricity. Yeah, it is. Yeah. But that's not just that. Anyway.
Only 1% of cod left of what it used to be. The population of cod.
Yeah.
Think about that next time we've got fish and chips
on your plate. Oh my goodness, this has turned. Right. Anyway, thanks for that.
No, it is shocking. But I didn't realize there's only 1% of cod left.
I know. People don't, I don't blame anyone. Obviously, the marketeers of the fish industry, of the meat industry, of the dairy industry. If you're a farmer and you're still using dairy products now, think on if you've got kids that you want to take over your business or whatever. Get out of lamb, get out of meat, get out of get into mushrooms.
But also
I
in
mean
the
it.
seafood industry, they always
Alternative.
use the image of like the Cornish fishermen like going out to sea saying sea shanties.
Fungi.
But actually, it's a death machine.
The same as
Those
mines.
big
Yeah,
fishing
but that
boats
is
in
it's
the
a death
ocean.
machine as well. But historically, remember, when the populations were less, there was one source of food.
No,
and-
of course.
yeah.
Historically, it would have been fine if we kept to that Cornish fisherman.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny how marketing totally lies about what the reality is and
Yeah,
the
of
facts
course.
behind
Yeah.
the fish we eat. Anyway,
Yeah, no,
is
you're
there
right. Though.
anything
People
else
look
you'd
out.
like to say
Not
about
for me.
yourself?
Not about me.
For yourself?
For myself.
In defense.
In defense of myself. I don't think there's enough words. Thank you for all your support, though, and thank you for your help around these projects and stuff.
My
That's
pleasure.
lovely.
It's been a pleasure having you as a guest on our
In the own
Shop
show.
on Tour podcast.
Thank you, my darling.
I'll see you
Cool.
next
See you
time.
soon.